You know, when you look at the stats of Mike Bobo, you could almost say he could write his own score. In fact, it's been said that Mike Bobo could do exactly that. Now, his stats are impressive, maybe not amazing, but it's gotten him hired with Georgia for the second time because they have an impressive offense. They won 2 back-to-back titles along with a fantastic defense. Talented team that should win the title again. Mike Bobo has been put in charge of that because of those stats. There's another stat that Mike might like even better than the 41 points a game and the such that he's famous for. We took a deep dive into Mike Bobo's career. We agreed that Mike Bobo could indeed write the score. So that's a given. Anybody wants to argue the point, you're free to comment, but generally, I say it's true. He was good enough of an offensive coordinator that he could write his own score. So let's look at the career that he presents with this ability, and look at the scores that Mike has written. So that supports the fact that he is often considered not of the highest intelligence. You can write your own score. Look what you're writing down. We'll see it all makes sense when we explain this magic number that Mike Bobo seems to cherish above all others. So you had the ability to write your own score. So what would you do if you had that ability? If you could write the score of your favorite team? It's like a magical gift. What score would you write? Think about it. Mike Bobo has that ability. We all agree. What score? What scores is he writing? And why is he writing the scores the way they do? What would you do with it? Could you make any money with this ability? Should you not really care about the team? Think about it from that standpoint. What do you think Mike Bobo did with this superhuman gift of writing his own score? Stay with us, and we'll show you. In 2012, Mark Richt had what he called a dream team. A team that took a long time to build, but it had come together as a powerhouse. It was a culmination of hard work and planning to build the perfect football team, and this 2012 team was Mark Richt's dream team. But something happened in October. South Carolina came to town, and the dream team, Mike Bobo and his dream team, will let Kirk Herbstreit tell you all about it. So you're telling me that Mike Bobo can write his own score? Yes, he can. A coach writing his own score? Well, it's absurd.
This game that much more important because the loser is on the outside looking in.
Well, you heard Kirk Herbstreit, or whatever his name is, say, you heard him say, the loser's on the outside looking in. This game was a game that no team that was serious about winning anything would lose, much less not show up. Watch this game as a tutorial about your future with Mike Bobo. Proceed with great caution.
And the winner of this game, and now the Florida Gators, who appear to be for real.
Some great stories tonight. The running backs for Georgia, the freshmen. We have Todd Gurley and Keith Marshall.
Well, I think everybody's been talking so much about these two backs that...
It's Georgia team is loaded. Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley. Think about what he could do to an opponent. What? Tonight. Nothing. It was Georgia, South Carolina, 2012. Mike Bobo had a chance to beat a top 10 team and prove that he could win the big one. The Georgia attack featured Aaron Murray, a dynamic quarterback, SEC leader in many categories, a dangerous opponent for any defense, flanked by the speedy Todd Gurley and other in the stable of running backs. This Georgia team could beat you both ways. They could run and they could slice you with a forward pass. And Aaron Murray was a sharpshooter.
To me, it makes me really look at this team and study the tape and realize that, they have a 3-year starting quarterback in Aaron Murray. And when you go on the road, we can talk about these backs, and they're going to have to step up and give them balance. But Aaron Murray's decision-making, his poise, the ups and downs that they'll face tonight, he's the key as far as I'm concerned. And also, how will their offensive line play in this environment? They're not going to be able to hear themselves. It's going to be tough to communicate. The battle up front will be interesting.
But when you talk about running backs, the number one back in the country is Marcus Lattimore of South Carolina.
See, this football game between South Carolina and Georgia became a case study. What we believe is the Mike Bobo method. The over-under, 42.5 in this football. Finished 35-7 with 42 points. Now take a listen to how this network broadcasts game. Listen to the announcers. Listen and read between the lines, and you can tell they're baffled as to why Georgia can't score. The game started with the Gamecocks grabbing first blood, went out to a 7-0 lead. Georgia responded by a nice run by Gurley, then a completely idiotic reverse and an interception. And Carolina is on their way to going out to a huge early lead. That is important, but what's really important is how Georgia responded, or lack of their end.
It's making these linebackers be aware of that. Herrera loses his balance, which is a major no-no. The quarterback on the run, and Shaw, who's been a threat already running, gets the linebacker's attention, and there again is Marcus Lattimore. Just got to say, he's like his blanket. He's always close by to Connor Shaw.
Remember that name, Marcus Lattimore. You'll hear that a lot tonight. And also remember that Mike Bobo didn't want him on Georgia's team.
The tie goes up over the top. Touchdown, South Carolina. Roy Anderson, the tight end from Powder Springs, Georgia, with a 14-yard TD. And the Bulldogs are reeling early.
You know what you must do, Mike. You know what you must do. Of course, you can't score too many points, can you? Just remember what we talked about. Over under. I don't like people that don't keep promises. Just so we don't forget the topic, we're talking about the over-under at 43.2. South Carolina has jumped out to a 14-0 lead, scored on the first 2 possessions. And what's interesting is how Georgia responds, as we said. Sorry, Mike, I wasn't expecting that the ring is out like that. Who was to know they were going to get 28 of them points, Mike? What are we going to do? Do what we always do. Play Georgia football. Old man football. One day they'll be talking about my style. Bobo method. Let's kick it into gear. The Bobo method was on full display in the South Carolina game. 35-7 your final score. As we're going to show you just how many times these network announcers were shocked that Georgia could never get off the deck in this football game, despite the amazing stats this offense. The final rating for Aaron Murray was 33 QBR in this game. His QBR for the season was 177. It was a bad game. Sometimes that's part of the Bobo method.
Dump it off. And he was in trouble because Taylor was hanging on.
Murray has had to go to this no huddle because right in the first half, when they got under center here, he's trying to make a little check at the line of scrimmage by just moving his hands out. You see this a lot from Georgia. The left tackle Gates, the right guard Burnett, they flinch. Cost them 5 yards, so they've gone back to just trying to go no huddle, back to the line, and trying to get the ball snapped as quickly as they can.
So Murray is running to a no huddle and penalty. It seems to be the way this game is breaking down. It's 28-0 at this point. Georgia is in desperate straits.
The South Carolina defense has done is just remarkable to consider what Georgia has done coming into tonight.
All the potential in offense. They came into this game averaging 536 yards of offense.
Incomplete.
Why is that? Because you knew it was potential to happen. And it's a great reminder to all of us about the importance of the battle in the trenches.
Well, some could argue that Georgia was simply overmatched against a very good South Carolina team that night. You could say that, but you must remember what this team did. They went to the national championship play-in game of the SEC title game in 2012. Came within a play, one play of beating Alabama and playing for a genuine national title. Would have been against Notre Dame. This team we're talking about that lost to South Carolina 35-7. Quarterback rating at 33% for Aaron Murray was the only blemish in an otherwise dream season. So did Mike Bobo ruin the dream season? Did Mike Bobo ruin the dream season? Did he sell out for some purpose other than just winning the ball game? We'll never know. The evidence of this game certainly gives credibility that the Bobo method not only existed throughout Mike Bobo's career, but it was the centerpiece